Okay, today's video is a review on this split AC unit. One of the things I did is I took the tape that came with it and I wrapped that line. That's the line that's supposed to get cold. The other one I did not wrap because it's supposed to get hot. Unfortunately, neither one does that. You don't get the line cold, you don't get the line hot. You can hang on to either one without a problem. With these, an AC unit, one line's supposed to get hot enough where you can't hang on to it, and the other one's supposed to get cold enough where it actually will be cold to the touch, and unfortunately neither one does that. As you can see, when I did mount it, I had to mount part of it behind the passenger side seat, so this vent is not any good for me. I mean, I could probably open it up and turn it this way and it might work, but I've been just using these two vents mostly in this one. Now, when you go ahead and use the system, it kind of works. It blows cold air for a little while, and then it just, like, the fan is the only thing running at that point. That's one of the things I didn't like about it. Another thing I didn't like about it is you can see that the display is in Celsius, and unfortunately here in the US most of the time everybody's running Fahrenheit, but as you can see it's all mounted. Now there's several different issues. One of the issues has nothing to do with the manufacturer or the shipper or the seller of the unit, because if you watch the install video, whoever had this truck before just put a plate in there, a thin plate, and I reinforced it, but it still moves around a bit. And if you notice right there, the plexiglass that they put in here when they took the bunk off of it is actually cracking because of how the panel is moving around, so it's actually cracked the plexiglass. I'm hoping that it just cracks and it doesn't drop out a piece. Now I've done a few things to try and insulate the truck a bit. One of the things I did, where the system has the lines coming up through the floor, I bought some rubber grommets online at Amazon and put them in to protect the lines and try and seal things up. I bought a brand new shifter boot and put down in there to seal up that gap. I used it most of last week, and I used it yesterday also. Unfortunately, with the system running, with the fan blowing and it's sitting on the coldest setting, I still sweat inside this truck. And 10,000 BTU, you would think in a cab this size, it would freeze you out. Well, as you may have seen in the install video, when I got the unit, it was damaged. I had to straighten the housing out. Luckily, the condenser did not leak, even though it was damaged. I did have to replace the expansion valve, which is right there. I had to replace it because it was plugged up. So that's the one that I had sitting on the shelf. It's identical to the one that I took off of it and replaced it with. There's, like I said, there is several issues I don't like. It don't get the cab cold like I thought it would. Another issue with the seller is he kept telling me, and I'll take a picture of the email, that he was going to send me instructions. Well, I never got any kind of install instructions in the thing, so I never got that. And I requested a $100 refund because of all the work and money I had to put in, because the expansion valve was not free. He said the unit would be charged up when I got it. It didn't have no charge in it whatsoever, so I had to go buy Freon and charge it up. And it took a few cans to do that, and then I had to spend time straightening out the housing. As if you seen the install video, you would have seen how banged up it was when I got it. So I asked for $100 refund, which I still have not got, and I'll go ahead and take a picture of the video, or I mean not the video but the email, and just put it on this review. But as you can see, I taped up a lot of that line that's supposed to be cold. I try and get it to blow colder. It didn't help at all. The Freon, I started out with 40 psi, 40 pounds of Freon in it, and the motor kept overheating and shutting down, the motor / pump in it. I wound up having to bleed a little bit of Freon off, a little more and a little more, a little more. So now it's running at 35 psi, 35 pounds per square inch. And that might be why it's not cooling like I think it should, or the way that most ACs do. I really don't know. One of the things I'm thinking about doing is the electrical line that goes from the unit up there and comes down and hooks into the batteries. I'm thinking about going ahead and getting like a single 0 gauge cable, run it from the unit down and hook it in. Maybe the cable they provided is not strong, heavy enough to carry enough voltage to keep the motor from heating up. I don't know. The motor might be damaged with all the other damage that was caused to the unit. I'm at this point wondering if maybe this unit was returned to the shipper because of problems, and then they turned around and reshipped it right to me. I don't know about that. It's something that I'm wondering about. But I cannot recommend this unit from my experience. I do not recommend you spending $1,000 for this thing because I'm having too much trouble. And I definitely do not recommend going to the seller I went to, and on eBay the seller goes under Kiss My Auto, KISSMYAUTO. There's no spaces, it's all together. But I definitely don't recommend going to them because they do not at this point do what they say they're going to do. But I cannot recommend anybody to buy this. I'm actually telling my customers not to buy one because of all the issues I'm having with this one. Whether they buy one or not is really up to them, but I do not recommend buying this. It is not worth the $1,000 it costs to get it, and then have all this kind of problems and still not even cold the inside of the cab. And I don't have a big cab. If you have a Freightliner, International, Volvo, even if it's a day cab, you're going to have a bigger cab, more area inside to cool. And I mean, this 10,000 BTU unit should be ample enough to bring the temperatures down inside the cab, and you should not be sweating. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Maybe if I would have got 24,000 BTU, maybe it would have started dropping the temperature down. I don't know. I don't have $1,000 just keep buying these things. But at this point, I do not recommend this. I actually recommend staying away from them because they are very disappointing. Okay, well, if you like this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button. And I'm sorry I can't give a good review on the split AC unit. You can go back and look at the install video and see some of the stuff. And if you're wondering what this thing is, it's my chemo pump. I had chemo today, and I got to hang on to this thing for 2 days, and I take it back Thursday. But that's what this is. If you've been watching more of my videos, you know I'm going through chemo for cancer now. But go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell button. I really appreciate it to help grow this channel so more people can see this kind of stuff and they actually get the truth about some of this equipment, like this split AC unit. Do not buy it. That's my recommendation. Have a better day. Thank you.